Vladimir Putin said something, one of the most interesting things. He said your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting.
All right, President Donald Trump is considering election integrity advice from Russian President Vladimir Putin, according to what the president disclosed during that Fox News interview you just saw a snippet of. He was speaking to Sean Hannity, and now Trump is announcing that he's taking action, which we'll get to shortly. But first, here's more of what Trump had to say.
He said mail-in voting, every election. He said no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections. As we talked about 2020, he said you won that election by so much, and that's how he got it. He said, and if you would have won, we wouldn't have had a war. You'd have all these millions of people alive now instead of dead. And he said, and you lost it because of mail-in voting. It was a rigged election. Smart guy said you can't have an honest election with mail-in voting.
I'm so sick of hearing about 2020. I'm so sick about hearing you lost because you mishandled COVID. People were angry about the shutdowns. People were angry about losing their livelihoods. They took it out on you. You performed poorly in the middle of a global pandemic and emergency. A real leader, a strong man, accepts defeat, moves on, has, by the way, an incredible comeback, and celebrates the fact that they had an incredible comeback. But Trump can't do that. Trump is the most thin-skinned, pathetic loser in the world because he can't let 2020 go. And because, Pooty Poot told him, the voting machines are the problem. Now he wants to get rid of the voting machines, which whatever, fine, get rid of the voting machines. Okay, get rid of them, I don't care, I'm done with it. Can we just stop having endless debates and conversations about the goddamn voting machines?
Yeah.
By the way, mail-in voting, lots of other countries do mail-in voting. Let's go to graphic 2. Dozens of other countries from Germany to South Korea allow some form of postal ballots under regulated conditions.
The minute Trump says something, like half of MAGA instantly believes it, right? He said Putin told Trump no other country does mail-in voting. The moron named Donald Trump didn't bother to check. You're the president of the United States. Ask one person that works for you. You have thousands of people who work for you. Ask one person, hey, is that really true? That seems curious. No one else does mail-in voting? They would have told you dozens of other countries do it, but he didn't want to hear that. He's like, Pooty Poot told me that nobody does mail-in voting. So he says it like an idiot on national TV.
Yeah, the bastion of democracy is giving Trump advice about how to carry out democracy.
Look, all right, so that's the second half, hold on. So then, since Trump said it, half of MAGA is all over social media. No other country does mail-in voting, no other country does mail-in voting. Do one fact check, brothers and sisters, right? So it's no fake news didn't make up that Germany and South Korea are doing it. They're actually doing it, okay? So, all right, that's super frustrating. By the way, he partly lost the election, more so lost the election because 1 million people died during COVID. So they were more mad about that than they were about the shutdowns. The right wing's more mad, and some independents and others were mad about the shutdowns.
It was utter chaos.
And like the number one thing with no matter which side you were angry about in COVID, okay, is that Donald Trump thought like, I don't want to tell people to take precautions like wearing masks because he was worried that the mask was going to take off some of his makeup. The orange makeup that he wore.
It did take off makeup. I can attest to that.
Yeah, so my point is that he put his own interests above those of the American people, and it had just happened, and that's why he lost, okay? So now, though, he can't ever let it go because he's a crybaby. And if you're, for the MAGA guys who fancy themselves super tough guys, I don't get it. I don't get it. As a fellow bro, which I've been called a bro by left-wing critics, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, all my life, right? What's tough about a guy who keeps freaking crying about something he obviously lost and he can't let go because he's so thin-skinned and weak, okay? All right, but much more importantly, I know you believe that some of them on the right, radical right believe, no, we shouldn't let anybody vote unless I'm positive they're Republicans, or whatever nonsense that they believe, okay? No, don't allow this voting, that voting, that voting, that voting. No, only things that advantage the Republicans, right? I'm sick of it. How about you believe in democracy?
Okay? By the way, one other thing is during the 2020 election, or in the lead up to the 2020 election, Trump kept talking about how you can't trust the mail-in voting, don't do mail-in voting, no mail-in voting. Democrats ended up getting an advantage Because Democrats weren't messaging that to their side of the political aisle, while Trump was messaging that to his side.
Because he's an idiot.
So he had an opportunity to maybe even accumulate more votes by encouraging Republican voters to vote by mail.
And the Republicans, by the way, had an advantage in mail-in voting.
They did, actually.
Until the idiot came along and don't do mail-in voting.
Yeah.
So then they didn't do mail-in voting, and then they lost. And now he's like, the real problem is mail-in voting. Okay, guys, but if you think, hey, Cenk, you're being too harsh on beloved Trump, I think he's a genius, blah, blah, blah. Brother, if you want your point of view, which is, Donald Trump won in 2020, and we should get rid of mail-in voting and voting booths, I don't know how.
I think he means the voting machines.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
you want paper ballots? I'm in favor of paper ballots.
I like the paper ballots,
okay.
yes.
So we could have a reasonable discussion about what the right rules are. But think about it. If you're on that side, would you make the case, it's okay because Putin told me? You'd have to be an incredible dumbass to frame it that way, wouldn't you? Putin has fake elections in Russia where he comes out and goes, 95% voted for me, and the other 5% tripped out the window, okay? And that guy comes and tells us how to run elections, and our president goes, I think the Russian president's got to figure it out. I'm taking advice from him on how to run elections. That would be the worst possible framing, but he's not bright enough to even realize that. He's like, Putin said I won. Putin said I won. And he says if we want to win again, we should get rid of mail-in voting and voting booths.
See, this is the area where I actually agree with you in that it's too easy to manipulate Trump because he's easily manipulated through flattery.
Of course.
And nothing flatters Trump more than feeding into the lie that he actually won the 2020 election and it was stolen from him. Look, say what you will about Vladimir Putin, he's actually he's like a fox, right? Like he's sly, he's intelligent, and he knows how to be manipulative. And he runs circles around Donald Trump, and it's super embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, when Trump bends his neck to Putin and Netanyahu, I get embarrassed as an American. Yeah. And brother, we should have a president smart enough to run circles around Putin.
Yes.
Doesn't mean we have to do weirdo conflict or war. It doesn't mean we have to get NATO all the way up to Russia's borders. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be trying super hard for a ceasefire, okay? We should do all of those things. But Putin manipulates him by doing two things. One is flattery in the ways that appeal to him most, but the other is he just alphas him, and it's obvious. Trump, when he thinks the other guy is superior to him, always bows his head, okay? And Putin carries himself with such confidence.
He does, yeah.
That Trump's like, his inner beta kicks in. And that's why we did that poll on TYT.com one more time. Why do you think Trump acts like a beta in front of Putin? A, money, B, compromat, C, instinctual reaction of a beta, that's what I'm voting. And D, he doesn't. Okay, so if you're a right wing, you say, no, Trump is showing Putin. Really? But okay, vote that way.
We do have some updates though in regard to the Dominion lawsuits against right-wing news organizations, if you want to call them news organizations, like Newsmax, for instance. So apparently Newsmax will be paying a $67 million settlement to Dominion voting systems over their claims of fraud in the 2020 election. Usually when you pay a settlement that large, again, Jesus, $67 million. They're not admitting guilt, but you don't settle for that amount unless they've got the goods,
Look, brother, okay, if you pay some small nominal amount, like, you paid $25,000 to Dominion, that means you didn't do it. You're just making the case go away, okay?
Yeah.
You pay $67 million. That's a giant neon sign saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. By the way, what did they do? They lied to the people who believed in them most, their viewers.
Yeah.
They lied to them on purpose and told them that Trump won the election when he hadn't won the election. And that's $67 million saying, yes, we're liars, and probably will lie to our audience every single day going forward.
So last year, Newsmax also settled with Smartmatic, another voting machine company that sued them for defamation, and they settled it for $40 million. So Smartmatic and Dominion had their cases settled with Newsmax agreeing to spend or pay tens of millions of dollars. It's just, anyway, I'm so sick of this story, I really am. Like, you lost 2020, Trump, it's okay. You made a comeback and you won the popular vote in 2024. Please stop being an embarrassing president.
Okay,
and just move on.
But more important than that, guys, this is super important. We cannot mess with the voting system of America. And this whole idea of, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna fix the voting system before the 2026 midterms. No, I'm very worried. And Donald Trump said in one of his Truth Socials, oh yeah, the angry Democrats will get even more angry. Yeah, if you try to change how we vote right before an election, you're obviously going to lose. The Republicans right now are in disastrous shape in the polling, right? No, of course we're gonna be concerned about that. And no, you don't. And he keeps saying, oh, the states have no power. They report to the federal government. That's not true at all.
Really?
It's the opposite of the truth.
I was hearing something entirely different, that the federal government shouldn't have a say in how the states conduct their elections. What happened?
States run elections, not the federal government. So if the Trump says, I'm gonna federalize those states, what he's saying is, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna bring it to the federal level and I'm gonna rig the election. Hell no is the answer. If you're gonna be an American, you gotta believe in democracy. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.